Hey everybody, I am coming making this video message and I wanted to talk to you all about soul ties. I'm sure most of you out here, you are not in the dark about soul ties, but I want you to know that soul ties come in different forms and they are also at different levels. You can have a spiritual soul tie with someone, you can have a sexual soul tie to someone, or you can have an emotional soul tie with someone. But whatever the case is, it can become very dangerous. I also want you all to know that soul ties are not just with romantic or sexual partners. They can come with children, they can come with friends or old friends that you were cut off by or you cut them off. They can even sometimes, I know you might laugh, people have soul ties with animals. I honestly, it may sound weird, that may make some of you all chuckle, but that's later down the line. That's something that's not really talked about. It's not something that is really looked at as dangerous or cringy to people. So I just wanted to throw that out there just to give you all a feel of what soul ties are. But I want to let you all know with soul ties, the two main things you need to do is you need to be praying about them if you have one, and you need to constantly be putting that soul tie on the altar. And this is something that a lot of people do not do. They don't put this stuff on the altar. They do not go to God about it, and they leave it to just manifest and to continue to grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger until it develops or manifests into other things. Now, let me break a couple of things down. The first thing is that if you have a sexual soul tie to someone, outside of praying, outside of you fasting, outside of you putting that person and that soul type relationship on the altar, you need to do things on your end. And what are the things you need to do? Because I know some of you all want to know. You need to stop giving that person that you have the soul tie with a lot of access to you. How about you don't give them any access to you? A lot of you all, you are divorced from an ex-husband or an ex-wife. You have broken up with an ex-fiance, or you have broken up with a boyfriend or a girlfriend. And I understand some of you all were deeply in love with them. You may have considered marrying the person. You may have already went through with the engagement party. Some of you all may have had a very strong, lustful sexual connection and relationship with someone. I'm gonna just keep it real. Or some of you all have had really strong bonds with certain friends, and some of your ties to the friends go all the way back to your childhood. And so that soul tie was developed because seeing someone grow up with you from the time you were 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. They saw you as a child, and then you saw them grow into a teenager, and from a teenager you saw them grow into a young adult, and from being a young adult you've seen them as a full grown man or woman. So more than likely you all know each other's families, you all know each other's children, you know that person's failures, you know they wins, you know what makes them tick, what makes them laugh, what makes them cry. You know when they are feeling down and defeated. You know when they are feeling upbeat and like they can take on the world. And so sometimes you will develop that soul tie because when you are very, very close to a friend or the person you're soul tied to, all you know is them because you spent so much time with them. They know your personality. They know what you're thinking. They may know what you're about to say before you even say it. They know when you're lying. They know when you're, telling the truth. They know when you're ready to give up. It is a spiritual thing. And sometimes it's even a physical thing. Some people have sexual soul ties to people to where they will get aroused and the person is not even around them. But if they were to call that person on the phone, right then and there and say, what are you doing? And the person will tell you, well, actually, I was thinking about you. And if you say, well, what were you thinking about? And they'll say how we used to, get down with each other. There will be that soul tie there. This is real talk, and it's a very real thing, and people go through it. But I want you all to actually be more real with yourself, and I want you to be more real and open with God about it, because this is a problem, and it's a very big problem with a lot of people, not only in the kingdom of God, but it's a very big problem with everyday people. And I don't care if they're rich, I don't care if the person is famous, I don't care if the person is a everyday person that's walking around. You are not exempt from having a soul tied to someone. When the enemy is creating chaos, and when he is creating drama, and when he is deceiving, and when he is being crafty, because that's what he is, he does not care who he does this with. I need to just make you all understand that up front right now. The enemy does not care about who he does it with. He doesn't care about who he does it to. If you are a open, willing vessel or participant, the enemy will play on that soul tie, and he will take it further and further and further, and deeper and deeper and deeper. I need you all to understand this, and I need you to understand the seriousness of this. Many mighty men and women of God have been completely taken down, and the anointing that God has placed on their life has started to run dry and thin, simply because of a soul tie, and it is straight from the pits of hell. But I want to tell you all today that part of your breakthrough and part of your deliverance, it is going to require you to stop dancing with the devil. It is going to require you to stop playing around with Satan. It is going to require you to put your foot down with the person or the people you are soul tied to. I don't care how long you've been their friend. I don't care how great the sex was. I don't care what secrets they know about you. I don't care about how close the bond and the connection was. Anybody that you are tied to so deep and so strong and so heavy to where it is taking away your prayer life, is taking away your attention from God. You cannot concentrate at work. You cannot concentrate at school. You are getting angry and snappy and short with people that you love or your children. You cannot think. You cannot focus. You cannot do your homework. You cannot study. You are not excited about doing the work of God. Your look is going down because you don't care about how you look when you leave the house. You're laying in the dark all day because all you think about is that person. A soul tie can make you obsessed. A soul tie will have you obsessive with someone because that connection is broken. And it becomes more frustrating for a lot of people because some of you have completely removed yourself from that man, ladies, or from that woman, fellas, or from those friends, ladies and gentlemen, but you cannot stop thinking about them. You are tempted to call them. You are tempted to text them. You are tempted to invite them out to lunch. You are tempted to invite them out to dinner. You are tempted to invite them out to breakfast. You are tempted to sit down and have a long, unnecessary conversation or powwow with them because you keep trying to understand why is it a wall up, or why is it resistance, or why can you not just have that relationship and that interaction with that person. I'm going to tell you all straight up. I'm not going to even play. I'm going to shoot straight from the hip. You got to stop playing with God once he separates you from someone. I keep telling you all, when God has something for you, you don't have to manipulate. You don't have to play games. You don't have to lie. You don't have to steal. You don't have to cheat. You don't have to open up your legs or pull out your penis, fellas. You don't have to do anything to have a pure bond and connection with somebody if it is ordained of God. But I'm going to tell you what Satan does. When you want that bond and that connection with that person, ladies and gentlemen, young, middle age, and old, you're going to have to lie. You're going to have to sneak around. You're going to have to miss church sometimes. You're going to forget to pray. You're not going to be enthusiastic about studying. You're not going to care what your mother talking about. You're not going to care what your father talking about. You're not going to care what your friends talking about. You're not going to care about your look going down. You're not going to care about your work performance. You're not going to care about your health, mentally or physically or emotionally. You're not going to care about none of that. See, that's what a soul tie does. It starts to disintegrate you bit by bit by bit by bit. It starts to tear you down. And by the time you wake up and you realize or recognize that that thing has been attached to you, sometimes for some people it's too late. And what I mean by that is there are some people who have had such a demonic and heavy, tight soul tie with someone, and they could not come back from it. There may be somebody that you know right now, they had a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a fiance or a friend 10 or 20 years ago that they used to deal with and hang with. And every time that name comes up, you see that person get out of character. You see them screaming. You see them hollering. You see them cussing. You see them yelling. You see them going around asking mutual friends questions about that person. You see that person still 10, 15, 20, 30 years later trying to ask why it did not work out. You see them moving on, but they have not moved on. That is a very, very hurtful and painful thing to see people that you love and care about go through. A soul tie is no joke, but I'm going to tell you all something. You cannot play with this demon. You cannot play with a soul tie spirit. There are many of you who are left behind emotionally and mentally. You could have been married several years ago. You could be exclusively dating someone that God has brought to your attention and you've come in their pathway. But because of that soul tie to that man, because of that soul tie to that woman, because of the soul tie to certain friends, no room is made for a better man, ladies, to come into your life. No room is made, fellas, for a better woman to come into your life. No room is made for better friends, real friends, to come into your life, because that soul tie is chipping away at you bit by bit, hour by the hour, minute by the minute, second by second, month by month, moment by moment, year by year. It is time for you to stop playing around. It is time for you to be real and ugly and naked with God and say, God, I have a soul tied to this woman. I have a soul tied to this man. I have a soul tied to these friends. And Lord, I want marriage. Lord, I want a wife. Lord, I want a husband. Lord, I want to trust people. Lord, I want to be connected with the saints in the kingdom. But Lord, my heart and my soul and my whole mind and body is tied to that church that I used to be at. It is tied to that man I used to be with. It is tied to that woman I used to be with. It is tied to those friends I used to be with. I don't see myself with another man but the man I'm thinking about. I don't see myself with another woman but the woman I'm thinking about. I don't see myself living in a new location or going to a new church, because the one that's in my heart and deep in my soul and deep in my spirit is the only thing that I recognize and the only thing I'm familiar with and the only thing that I'm comfortable with and the only thing that I feel is right for me. Father, burn it out of me. Lord, break it off of me. Lord, I don't care what you have to do. Give me the strength Deliver me from this, because Lord, if you don't, it will not get done. So I'm making this video message to tell every last one of you, it is time for you to get serious about that soul tie and letting it go. Anointed men and women of God, I see some social media influencers. You come to my mind and you come to my spirit. Some of you all, you have soul ties. Ladies, with certain men in your life, it's a certain man in some of you all's life. You really believe that that is who God called you to be with. But God has not called you to be with that man. That man is not your husband. Some of you men, you feel like and believe deep in the core of your soul that that particular woman is for you, but that is not who God has for you. And so now it's time for you to continue to put this on the altar, pray and fast, and make it your first and top priority, seeking your deliverance. Stop texting the person you are soul tied to. Stop calling the person you are soul tied to. Stop having sex with the person you are soul tied to. Stop compromising your peace by allowing the person you're soul tied to come to your house, to meet you at your job and take you to lunch. Stop accepting gifts from the person or the people you are soul tied to. Stop driving past the location that you are soul tied to. It's time to break every soul tie. And I decree and declare in this video that if you have watched it until the very end, that you will have the soul tie and this deep-rooted struggle broken off your life in Jesus' name. Spirit of the living God, every single man and woman, even if it's a teenager, I ask you, Father, after they view this video message, that you do a complete turnaround and major deliverance. I speak major mass deliverance to every single person who views this video message that is struggling with the soul tie. Some of you all have been dealing with the soul tie for 10 and 15 and 20 and 30 and 40 years, and the enemy has used it to keep you where you are. You are still unmarried. You are still broken. You are still paranoid. Your heart has not even been open to new friendships and new connections. You have given up on love and lost hope because you, in the back of your mind, feel like that person that is tied to you through your soul, through your spirits, and through your emotions, they are one day going to walk through the door. They are one day going to call and text you. But I am here to tell you, the devil is a liar. The devil is using it to deceive and trick you and keep you stagnated in life. I'm going to stop here. That's the video message. Well, guys, it's time for me to go because I have some other things to do. The Lord willing, I will be back with another video message. If any one of you have been offended by anything I spoke about in this video message, it's okay. It's all right. I'm not worried about it. I am not concerned because I know you will forgive me in the morning.